The Earth embassy on the neutral planet Velkara was shining with lights. Flags from many alien worlds waved in the wind. It was the Unity celebration, where humans and alien leaders came together once every 5 years. Jack Miller, a young human diplomat, stood near the drinks table, bored. He wasn't from a rich family or a military background. He was just smart and very good at noticing small details. That's why Earth sent him here. He watched as the tall alien nobles walked by. Most ignored him, until she walked in. She was different. Her skin had a soft glow like moonlight. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders in waves. Her eyes were violet and sharp, filled with mischief and mystery. She wore a flowing white robe with symbols Jack couldn't read. Her name was Elira, Princess of the Othari Empire. She walked straight up to Jack, holding 2 glowing drinks. "You look bored," she said, smiling. Her voice was calm but powerful. Jack blinked. "I am. Diplomatic parties are the same across the galaxy. Boring speeches, fake smiles, and too much shiny clothing." Elira laughed. It was soft, almost like a song. "At least you're honest. Most just try to impress me." Jack smiled. "You're not easy to impress?" "Not at all," she said, sipping her drink. "But I like games, do you?" Jack raised an eyebrow. "Games?" She stepped closer. "Let's play a name game." He tilted his head. "What kind of game?" Elira leaned in, her eyes sparkling. "Guess my real name, the ancient one, not the one printed on those silly name tags. If you guess it right, I'll marry you." Jack laughed, nearly choking on his drink. "Is that a royal joke?" "Maybe," she said with a sly grin. "Maybe not." He looked at her, trying to understand. "How many guesses do I get?" "Only one," she whispered. "That's the rule." "But how would I know it?" She leaned even closer. "That's the challenge." And with that she walked away, disappearing into the crowd, leaving Jack stunned and curious. Later that night, Jack sat alone in his room, still thinking about her words. "Guess my real name." He searched the Othari culture database on his tablet. There were hundreds of noble names, but some were connected to old meanings: stars, winds, even emotions. Among the Othari, names weren't just labels. They were sacred, secret, often hidden even from friends. Why would she offer something so serious as a joke? Then he remembered her eyes when she said it. It didn't feel like a joke. Back on her ship, Elira sat in silence. Her twin sister, Velna, stared at her in shock. "You told a human to guess your soul name?" Velna shouted. "Are you mad?" "It was just a joke," Elira replied. "He won't find it. But if he does..." "Elira, that name is part of your blood. If he speaks it aloud, it becomes binding." Elira waved her hand. "Relax. No human has ever guessed an Othari soul name. It's impossible." Still, her fingers trembled slightly. Jack couldn't sleep. He read more about Othari naming customs, their myths, their ancient goddesses. A line from an old text caught his attention. "To know one's true name is to see the soul beneath the skin." He remembered how Elira looked at him, not just as another diplomat, but like she saw something in him, something different. He made a list of possible names, based on her gestures, her laugh, even how her eyes moved when she was joking. The game had begun. But Jack didn't want to win just for fun. Something about Elira pulled him in, like a puzzle waiting to be solved. And far across the stars, a hidden force stirred, an ancient power tied to the Othari names. If spoken by a heart both honest and brave, it could awaken something old and something eternal. But for now, it was still just a game, or so they thought. Elira stood alone on the glass balcony of her ship, high above Velkara's surface. Stars blinked in the distance, silent and cold. Her white robe fluttered slightly in the artificial breeze, but her mind wasn't calm. Her smile from earlier still played on her lips. But it was fake now, a mask. She whispered the human's name to herself. Jack Miller. Why did he get under her skin so easily? She had joked about the name game 100 times before, with other aliens. But with him, it felt different. There had been a moment, a flicker, when she thought he almost knew. She touched her chest lightly right above her heart. "Don't be stupid," she muttered. Behind her, soft footsteps echoed. Her twin sister, Velna, entered the chamber, eyes. "Sirius, you shouldn't have said that," Velna began sharply. "You used your true name when talking to him. Not directly, but you were close." "I didn't speak it fully," Elira replied, avoiding her gaze. "But even fragments carry power," Velna warned. "You know the ancient codes. The human doesn't need the full name, just enough to awaken the bond." Elira turned away, arms crossed. "He's just a diplomat. Curious, yes, but harmless." Velna sighed. "Harmless men have changed empires." On the surface of Velcara, in the dark corner of a library only used by bored aides and nerdy scholars, Jack was still reading. His eyes were tired. His fingers tapped on the glowing screen. Name fragments, soul bonds, ancient oath magic. The deeper he went, the stranger it became. Apparently, the Athari's true names weren't just labels, they were living codes, built from family history, personality, and even hidden traits from birth. And if someone outside their race spoke it, especially a human, a binding echo could happen. "What the hell is a binding echo?" Jack whispered. The notes were vague. Some spoke of light, others of emotional links. One ancient scroll even claimed, "When the right voice speaks the true name, the stars remember." He leaned back, thinking hard. Maybe this wasn't just a flirtation. Maybe she had challenged him on purpose. Back on the ship, Elira stood in front of her reflection. Her glowing skin, violet eyes, and soft silver hair were perfectly arranged, but the look in her eyes was not royal. It was fear. Not fear of Jack, but fear of what might happen if he actually won the game. What if he guessed right? What if the bond chose him? And worst of all, what if she didn't want to stop it? Her heart thumped faster. Meanwhile, far away in a deep chamber on her ship, an old machine flickered on. Hidden behind golden walls, it had not activated in hundreds of years. But now, it pulsed. It had sensed something. The old technology, tied to ancient Othari bloodlines, responded to one thing only: a human mind brushing too close to a soul name. The screen glowed red. Warning: foreign cognition approaching. Threshold: potential echo detected. A soft hum filled the air and then silence. Jack closed the tablet. He had copied down 4 possible names based on her language roots, star goddess myths, and the way she reacted when he said certain sounds. One name stood out more than the others. He whispered it to himself. And somewhere, miles above in orbit, Elira suddenly gasped. Her hand flew to her chest. She didn't know why, but her body heard something that wasn't said aloud. Long before Jack became a diplomat, he had a strange talent. He listened not just with ears, but with something deeper. He noticed things others didn't: the rhythm of breathing, the weight behind a pause, the way a voice shifted when it carried. Hidden truth. Back home, people said he was just quiet, observant, but Jack knew it was more than that. He could almost hear what wasn't said, and now, sitting alone in his Velcara room with notes scattered across his desk, that talent was whispering something very loud. Elira's voice replayed in his mind. Not her words, but her tone. The way her lips had curled around certain sounds, how she tilted her head after speaking, how her fingers brushed her collarbone when she said real name. Those details haunted him. They were clues, not random, not a joke, a challenge. Jack pulled out the small audio recorder he always kept hidden in his jacket. He played back the moment from the Unity celebration. When Elira gave him the challenge, he slowed it down, listened. "There," he whispered, tapping his finger against the speaker. "Right there." Her breath hitched after that syllable. He cross-referenced. Her name, Illyra, with known Othari dialects. Some older forms of the name meant starlight, while others meant echo or reflection. But in one lost dialect he found something else. Elira, meaning one who is bound by fate but hides her truth. Jack's heart beat faster. Could it be? Was that it? He didn't speak it aloud. Not yet. He needed to be sure. Meanwhile, aboard her royal cruiser, Elira stared at her communication pad. No message from Jack. No meeting request. No apology. Nothing. It annoyed her. She told herself she should be relieved. If he forgot the name game, the danger would pass, but deep down, she wanted to know if he remembered. If he was trying. And worst of all, she hoped he was close. That scared her more than anything. She tossed the comm pad aside and walked to the star map chamber. She needed distance. Jack visited the alien embassy archives next. Using his status, he requested access to ancient Othari records. The alien keeper looked at him with wide, blinking eyes. You want soul name structures? Jack nodded. For academic comparison, I'm writing a cultural report. The alien didn't believe him but handed over the data anyway. Careful, human, the keeper said. Some knowledge bites back. 3 hours later, Jack found it. In a dusty old record, translated poorly, a name stood out. Alethera, a ceremonial name, said to be tied to nobility, birth under a crimson moon, and a soul that bends fate. It had been used by only one bloodline in the last 200 years. Elira's family. Jack whispered the name once under his breath. His vision blurred. A pulse rang in his ears. Far above, Elira dropped her crystal cup. It shattered against the floor. She grabbed her chest, gasping. Her heart thundered. Her body warmed with a strange energy. She ran to the control panel and opened a scan. Her binding sensor had triggered. One human mind detected soul frequency match. Warning. Echo link forming. She froze. It wasn't possible. It was just a joke. But now, the name wasn't just a word. It was moving toward her. Jack stood in the middle of his room, silent. He didn't know what he had just done, but deep down, he knew. He was no longer just guessing. He was hearing her, and she was starting to hear him back. The Unity Ball was the grandest event on Velkara. 1,000 species filled the golden halls, ambassadors, leaders, warriors, even scholars. Music from 5 planets played in the background. Floating lights moved like stars across the ceiling. But Jack Miller wasn't focused on any of it. He stood near the marble fountain, wearing the best suit the Earth Embassy could afford. His fingers were clenched, hidden behind his back. His heart thumped harder than ever before. Tonight, he was going to say it. Across the room, Elira moved like light. Her silver dress shimmered with every step. Her violet eyes scanned the crowd, but she already knew where Jack was. She had known since he arrived. She told herself she wasn't nervous, that he couldn't know, that it was impossible. But the pulse in her chest said otherwise. And when he finally walked toward her, her breath caught just slightly. Jack gave a small bow. Evening, princess. She smiled, cool and graceful. Did you come to play more games? He nodded. Just one more. Her smile widened. Still chasing names, human? Jack looked into her eyes, calm and clear. Not chasing. I already found it. She blinked. The laughter stopped around them, not because others heard what he said, but because something changed in the air. Elira's skin shimmered suddenly, like moonlight hitting water. Her voice dropped. Jack, don't say it. But he stepped closer, his voice low but steady. Elethera. The name slipped from his lips like a whisper, but it thundered in her bones. The room didn't shake, but her world did. Her knees buckled slightly and her hand flew to her heart. Everyone turned to her, confused. A soft hum filled the air. Only she and Jack could hear it. 1,000 years of tradition, of magic, of hidden bloodlines. It had just been activated. The Othari guard stepped forward, confused. One of them reached for his communicator. Velna, Illyra's sister, ran to her side. "What did he do?" she shouted. Illyra looked at her, eyes wide, lips trembling. "He said it." "The true name?" Illyra nodded slowly, tears forming in her eyes. Not from sadness, not from pain, but from the weight of destiny falling on her shoulders. Velna stared at Jack like he was a monster. Or maybe a miracle. "You fool," she whispered. "Do you even know what you've done?" Jack stepped back slightly. "I didn't mean to hurt her." "Hurt?" Illyra whispered. Her voice was shaking. She walked toward him slowly. Her fingers touched her cheek, confused at the single tear sliding down. Her voice cracked. "No one has ever said my true name. Not even me." Jack swallowed hard. "I heard it, not from a book, not from a screen. I heard it when you looked at me." She stared at him, glowing faintly. "Do you know what that means?" He nodded. "It means, I see you." Then the binding began. A ring of pale light circled them. People gasped. The energy didn't burn, it warmed. Flowers bloomed near their feet. Even the stars outside seemed to shine brighter. A council elder stepped forward, his voice loud and serious. "By Othari law, the bond is made. You, human, have spoken the soul name willingly. You are now bound." Gasps filled the air. Illyra closed her eyes. The joke had become real. And her heart? It wasn't. Running away, it was stepping closer. No one spoke for a long time. The glowing circle around Illyra and Jack slowly faded. But the silence in the great hall was heavier than any sound. The moment was over, but the meaning was not. Jack stood still, confused but calm. Illyra. She looked like someone caught in two worlds, half in shock, half in wonder. Then the High Elder stepped forward. An Othari male with 6 silver eyes and skin like stone, he carried a long crystal staff. When he spoke, it was like ancient wind echoing through time. "The soul name was spoken, the bond has chosen, this is no longer a game, this is law." Illyra's breath caught in her throat. She tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. The elder turned to her. "Princess Illyra, as daughter of the royal bloodline, you know what must follow." Illyra finally found her voice, soft and shaking. "But I didn't mean for this, it was a joke. A human game." The elder's gaze did not soften. "Intent does not matter. The soul recognized him. The bond is sealed. If broken now, your bloodline's honor will collapse. The ancient pact demands a vow." Jack stepped forward. "A vow, as in marriage?" Illyra looked at him wide-eyed. The elder nodded. "Yes, either a full bonding ceremony or exile from the Othari lineage forever." Gasps echoed across the room. Jack was stunned. "That's extreme." The elder didn't blink. "Our names are not words. They are our spirit, and you spoke hers." Illyra left the hall in silence, her guards close behind. The moment she entered her private chamber, she collapsed onto her knees. Velna rushed in. "You have to fight this. There has to be a way out." Illyra whispered. "It's not that simple." Her fingers brushed her chest again. That same warm hum from earlier. It was still there, soft, comforting, alive. Velna looked at her closely. "You don't hate him." "I don't know what I feel," Illyra whispered. "I just know." Something inside me woke up when he said it. "I can feel him even now." Velna's eyes widened. "The bond is real." Meanwhile, Jack sat with Earth's ambassador, a sharp-tongued woman named Carla Dean. She was furious. "You said her true name? Jack, do you realize what you've done?" "I didn't mean to start a galactic wedding," Jack replied, rubbing his temples. "I was just trying to solve a riddle." Carla sighed. "You solved it all right. and now the Othari want you as their royal son-in-law. If you say no, Earth could lose its trade alliance with them. Jack blinked. So, marry her or start a political disaster? Carla shrugged. Pretty much. Jack looked out the window. I didn't say her name for politics. I said it because it felt right. Like I already knew it. She raised an eyebrow. You falling for her? Jack didn't answer, but his silence said everything. That night, Elira stood at her window, looking down at the glowing planet below. Her heart was loud, her mind louder. Then her door chimed. Jack stood there, hands in his pockets, awkward but honest. I didn't come to force anything, he said. If you want out, I'll walk away. She looked at him quietly. That's not how the bond works. He nodded. I know, but still. I'll follow your lead. She stared at him a long time. Then slowly, she walked closer. I didn't mean to challenge you, she said softly. But maybe I needed someone to. Jack smiled. Then maybe it wasn't really a joke. Elira didn't smile back. She stepped forward and placed her hand in his. The glow returned, soft, alive, and unbreakable. The palace halls of the Othari ship were quiet, too quiet. Royal banners floated gently in the air, but tension pulsed in. The silence. Princess Elira stood in front of the mirror, dressed in a ceremonial robe of blue and silver. But her reflection didn't look like a bride. It looked like a prisoner. The bond had chosen. The council expected a royal wedding, but her heart still hadn't. Jack stood at the landing deck, staring at a shuttle that could take him away from all of this. His orders from Earth were simple. Accept the bond if it protects the alliance. If not, step away quietly. But it didn't feel that simple anymore. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't even a hero. Just a human who listened too well. And said the one word that could change two lives forever. He turned away from the ship and walked toward her. Inside the crystal garden of the royal ship, Elira waited. She didn't want to run, but she didn't want to be forced either. When Jack arrived, she didn't smile. She just asked one question. Do you feel it too? He nodded. It's like I can hear you. Even now. Her voice cracked. I was trained my whole life to hide my soul name. Not even my family knew it, but when you said it, something inside me didn't fight. It opened. Jack took a slow breath. Then tell me what you want. Not your people. Not tradition. You. She closed her eyes. I want freedom. She whispered. To choose, and not just obey. Suddenly the air around them shimmered, then cracked like glass. A warning siren blared. They were under attack. Dozens of small enemy vessels appeared around the Othari cruiser. Not pirates, not rebels, but rival nobles, those who wanted Elira's bond broken by force. They had tracked her, waiting for the moment she became vulnerable. And now, with the bond still fresh, they struck. Explosions rocked the halls. Elira stumbled, grabbing Jack's hand. They're trying to erase the bond, she gasped. If I die before it's sealed, it resets. Jack's eyes darkened. Then they came for the wrong woman. As guards scrambled to defend the ship, Jack and Elira ran through the chaos. Smoke filled the air, blades clashed, light fire blasters lit the walls. A traitor blocked their way, an armored noble from her uncle's house. You were never meant to bond with a human, he sneered. This is an insult to our bloodline. Jack stepped forward. Then let's fix that. Before the noble could strike, Jack disarmed him in a flash, using an old earth grappling move. The noble hit the floor, unconscious. Elira stared. You fight? Jack shrugged. Only when someone threatens something I care about. She didn't say anything, but her heart answered loudly. They reached the sacred core. an ancient chamber where royal bonds were traditionally sealed with the echo embrace. It wasn't a wedding. It was something deeper. A mutual vow. No crowd, no rules, just two voices. Illyra turned to him. Her voice was trembling. "This is your last chance to run." Jack stepped closer. "I didn't run when you challenged me. I didn't run when they attacked. Why would I run now?" She smiled. Finally. Truly smiled. "Then speak the vow." Their hands touched the glowing crystal. The light rose again, but this time it was different. It pulsed with unity, not law. Two souls choosing one bond. No chains. Illyra whispered, "Eleuthera." Jack whispered, "Jack." And the stars above seemed to hold their breath. Long ago it was just a joke, a smile, a challenge, a sentence spoken in laughter. "Guess my real name, and I'll marry you." Now that joke was written in star records, etched into crystal scrolls, and whispered through galaxies, because that joke changed everything. The binding ceremony completed in secret, but its energy spread far beyond the Othari ship. Ancient systems lit up, systems that had been dormant for 1,000 years. The echo flame now burned inside both Jack and Illyra. A soul bond once thought impossible between species was real. The council tried to hide it at first. They claimed it was tradition, that the bond was symbolic, but the truth could not be caged. A human had spoken an Othari soul name, and the soul had answered back. Weeks passed. Jack now wore a silver ring on his wrist, not a crown. He didn't become king. He didn't want to. But he became something far stranger, the first human ever trusted with an Othari heart. Diplomatic envoys began to shift. New peace treaties opened. Young Othari nobles started asking about Earth customs. Trade routes expanded. Even xenophobic empires paused to watch. But Jack didn't care about politics. He only cared about her. One night, aboard the quiet cruiser, now orbiting Earth's moon, Illyra sat with Jack under an artificial sky. Stars projected all around. She rested her head on his shoulder. Calm, warm, alive. "You know," she said softly, "when I said that joke, I thought I was testing you." Jack smiled. "And I thought I was just flirting." Illyra chuckled. "Turns out we were both wrong." He looked at her. "Or maybe we were both right." Back on New Velcara, young students whispered the story in classrooms. The alien princess who made a joke and met her fate. The human who listened and changed everything. They called it the name game legend. Some said it was fate. Some called it a miracle. Others believed it was ancient magic returning to the stars. But the two people at the center of it, they never needed it to be a legend. They just lived, side by side. One name, one bond. No longer a joke, but a beginning.